Thank you, Worship. And I'll call this number SH100 of 2024 to the assessment and two others. Today, the 24th day of March 2026. Before the Honorable Minister, Mr. Ramaphosa, the State of Mr. Matala from the Minister for the matter was also announced as the cross-examination of the witness continues.
Your full name is Cyril?
Ludi Rolf Schneller.
You have an objection to taking the photograph?
No, Your Worship.
Consider the oath to provide an application?
Yes.
And you swear that the evidence shall be the truth, nothing else but the truth. If so, raise up your right hand and say sorry.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. General, I'm going to put to you some points that I'm going to be arguing at the end of this meeting. And I would want you to either dispute that or you then confirm with the point that I will place with you. You understand? I'm going to put you the points that I'm going to argue at the end, and then you can then indicate if you dispute them or if you agree with the points that I will put to you.
Ohandika dula oija matukulo homeshoe oyo dahala ndikupe oija yo matukulo ohandika o yashe kolelela ke buweli biwete no tasipikobe ngendo to twafana kumenasho ilo ito twafana kumenasho obudite ko tu.
I understand.
Obudite ko.
Now, you will agree with me that the first thing in a matter of this sort, what we'll have to determine is the commission of the offense. Now, the housebreaking offense will be the first thing that we look at. That will be the first thing.
Otoitavele pamename kucha moshi ngwani mashi oshimasho tototene esitulo kutala nene twalala kane noshe shikucha onele yeumbolo latewa otoitavele pamename ilo itotwafana pamename.
Yes, Your Worship.
No timalengwa.
Now, I will not repeat the evidence or the concessions that we made yesterday, but then in confirmation, you confirm that there's no direct evidence linking any person to the commission of the housebreaking, but then we're going to rely on the after the fact circumstances.
Itandike ngulula mwashi olongeli pamename kwalita kobyongela sherikolebela koijemo yoye ejo kikucha owakoka nizo moyeleleoye ashiki ototolo kutwafana pamename mbela kucha mwaishe kakwalipena umbani uyelele ou taudungero kumandifo vanhu ava nenge kuva uchekucha ovaili koshingwani masho efiku leukolakatewa shapo kakele kwashi omoyelela wakakomba koni baefimbo ngashi weyako.
I understand.
No, aludidego.
And now, to this end, you will agree with me that there is we're not in possession of any tangible facts to suggest that the second and third accused were involved in the commission of the offense. We agree with you.
Bondodo opapa tulinga hanena fikweli ngenge hatupopi oshiri kapena uyelele no mbandi outawafana pamwe no mbandi wekuja olundilwa ontivali nolundilwa ontidatu obo valiko oshingwani ma shokuteya oneloyo otoitavele iloto shani.
Facts meaning fingerprints and DNA found on the scene, I agree with you. In respect of the total investigation and the circumstantial evidence gathered, we can make linkages.
Shala kucha ove omumbagoye atokopi elikomesho yoe o ndinenge kero kucha o aike wakonga okujila memba ingito kule ikovano kucha ovamona shikene kova udashike oshoilo hasho.
Yes, Your Worship.
No primanekwa.
And these witnesses are the witnesses who then are called to come before court and say to the court, this is the position, this is what happened, and this is what we found at the later stage. You agree?
The nemba kidoyodo o dadi dulu okufa mwange taduya komesho kunenda dikopi kucha aye oshima oshali ngaha noshenda ngaha esho osho twamona osho ilo hasho.
Correct, Your Worship.
And in as far as the witnesses will be called to testify, I believe we will only be relying on the witness, the cell phone analyst.
Nongenge embatidoende tadufano tedaduya tadikulwa beipengaha otaka katabetele nuyelele weligolelela kelo mifole ngodi duwede kucha oyelele owulipo osho ilo hasho.
In respect of the investigation, I would have relied on the cell phone analyst, Thomas, Mr. Sylvester Ndlovu, and Hendrik von Willig, in respect of accused 2 and 3.
Okutwala momombandida tirile mengoji ohandike longiva okulikolelelela komadzina obaluminobo batumburwako olatotete olatomasa nababawo bakalandulako.
Yes, because now when we are to look at the evidence of Sylvester, and we'll come to deal with the evidence of Thomas and Van Velef, you will in court, you will not be assisted in any way, but we will also deal with this evidence as well. But now let's start with the evidence of Mr. Sylvester. You had Sylvester highlighting to the court, even in this statement which we can present to you, he highlighted to the court that accused two was a temporary employee. And temporary employees are only called to the house or to Phala Phala farm only in the event there is an event of some sort at the farm. You had this evidence correct. And that is, did I summarize it correctly according to your knowledge as well?
Okutwala momobangi olano wadungula ondinengekera okujange ndihakukakopya momobangi owayanjo akola lupiro kajina atatu atetekera okutumbula ndebeimondaala tukakopye ombangi olumeno dakutiwa Sylvester ngendo hatu shuna konima eshikwali eyapa takulwa shelikolelela eshibo loshinikwa limashi ondinengekera okuja otunumbangi nohaidulu ndikupe ombangi wo apetiya yashaka komeshoyo ekuja yokwakopya kuja olulundilwa ontibali okwakala halongo o temporary mo farama ya Phala Phala no hakale ke taimo avano ngenge pena oshinakuwatimwa eshishimbo nengo shikilo shonumba otoshitimbuluka mbela kuja olumenisolvesa owoshikopyangao.
I heard that testimony being given by Mr. Sylvester and Ndlovu, but that wasn't in actual fact what had happened.
Ondauda onlumenu o dakopi danje umbanduwae ashike hashosha holokanga.
And this evidence will then be taken as well, be looked into in conjunction with the evidence of Monica, who is the permanent employee at the farm.
Ndele na jambo hatukulu okukufa ombangi wepovyolo de hatukwatakanisa pamwe nepopyo la Monica o halongo efimbo alishe monele oyo ya Phala Phala otoitabele pamwe.
I agree that is what Monica testified about, but it's still not what actually happened over that period.
ondeshita vela kuja osho monikosho eyandeta kopi ashike hashoshaningwa efimbo ololo shilindwadima.
When you say it is not what happened in that job, what are you referring to? But you need to be clear before you pass on effect.
Yes, Your Worship.
Echitokopi kuja hashoshaningwa ngaho owana kucheshikembele oshiwangenge totupe uyelele obodushile tukatale nokupopya omo uyelele obe uneshivo lasho.
I interviewed Mr. Sylvester and 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐿 on various occasions in respect of this matter.
Ame ondakakalo mtumba na Sylvester Ndlovu andibobi naye andimkula shelikolelela koshingwani mashi.
And I specifically asked him during the interview why I was not employed at Phala Phala anymore. And he said he was retrenched, and I asked him what was the reason for his retrenchment, and he informed me that he was being held responsible for allowing accused number 2 to work in the President's house without the necessary permission.
Vati ame dayate pitikilo konludilo ntivari obweuye yalo ehele pitikilo mofalama oyo apalama.
Because he was represented by lawyers, he didn't then put that fact into his affidavit. For what reason, I don't know.
Omorokuja ye obokeshitwala nobonkale lipowaye upamamboveta ashike ineshitula panshangwa ombapila yayo affidavit de osho oshimashimosho shalindililikanje ucho morashikine shikopila mu affidavit yayo pionena ngahakandine shivo lasho.
Secondly, Mr. Hendrik van Ville gave me an affidavit in respect of accused number 2. I wouldn't say illegally, but in contravention of the instruction of the farm. Accused number 2 was allowed to work in the President's residence, and Mr. van Ville put it in his affidavit in respect of the investigation. So in respect of, yes, the testimony was given, but I got the feeling that they didn't want to deviate outside what they wanted to tell the court, which differed from what they told me during interviews and what Mr. van Ville put in his affidavit.
So these two witnesses, Sylvester and Monica, are the state witnesses who testified before this court.
Sylvester na Monica odo embangi mbali edidea okuyanja omumbangi abo komesho yobofana.
Yes, Your Worship.
So are you suggesting that they hide something from this court?
Ove onetila dilolo kujana bamwe ove nashita bishugoleke beshituoleke lase.
I am, Your Worship.
Now, in that case, Mr. Kel, we are sitting in this court, and the court has to make a determination of the guilt of the accused person based on the evidence before it. And that evidence is not before court. You expect the court to accept this evidence from you having had it from the people who were before this court and not given it?
Nenali otuli ontumba mohofam. Otuna obalundilwa vele ontumba batelela oboba pangulwe nokutokolelwa oshima eshina bishineka. Ndelogo totulongwele nenali kuja obena embangyo lobalide yangeno diye byange mumbangi yabo awana ndengo mumbangi yabo inabe yanja awana mara be otoko bikuja obe walala kanina umbangi woyo wauda mubanga babe kulongwele mara bano be kulongwele shile ya ina bapo be maisha awana oshima shala kutambili.
Your Worship, I'm in control of the investigation outside of this court. I have no control about what happens in court and what the witnesses say in court when they stand here. But I've interacted personally with all of these witnesses. And when I speak to them, I spend hours with them and I find out what's going on. But once they're here, I don't have control about what they say when they stand here. I can listen to what they say, but it differs from what I experienced when I had them face to face. I think this platform put some fear into them, to be honest, because everything that says here is getting put onto the social media and they then become apprehensive when they talk here. But when it's just one-on-one with me, it's a normal chat, sitting at a table, and it's comfortable. So I don't have control what happens in this court. And it's unfortunately, I have to say this because this is what I experienced. Yes, I understand it's hearsay. Yes, Mr. Ndlovu didn't want to put it in an affidavit because he was represented. But Van Wieler did put it in the statement.
On the issue of the Oshima Shimosho issue, Omorokuja, Ame Obama Handipopinavo, Onje, Yo 5, and the Karanawa Tumba, Otabalongwelenge, Ashishe Shiveshi, the Gekitabeya Farma, very commercial, Yo 5, Bo Havaya, Abea, the Tatano Kushenja, Omapotio, Tapo, Shimoshi, no Manikalam, never begin. No ashika loshima shikumwifa kwa mekuja umurashi yalo mbelelani kushima shinga hande shite ya ondako kushima shimoshini diwe de kuja ngeke veli komesho yo hofamu habakala veni mbata ngashoshima shina tudumburuke kuja oshiri me TV keshe pambo ko shiri obanotale batalo de numbata na pamokuja ovenana no shima shimotashika holo chidulipesha ndikarana mutumba umwenao atupopi ngeke ndiri nabo habakala bamanguko kulokwela ngashi chimuntima wabo sho bamwe omumbagi abaye sho bekatura kupemba pila ashike bamwe omumbagi abalokwela kina byatura kupemba pila.
Yes, but even if we are to look at the statements that were presented before this court, what we just highlighted to the court about her being allowed in the house in contravention with the regulations of the farm. That is not in the statement. Either from Monica, it's not in the statement. Either from the we understand you.
Yeah, but this is what he said. He said what is in the statement because they use it's not what we discussed. And what they say in court maybe is what in the statement. And there is nothing he can do because it is not in the statement. He was not the one who took the statement. The lawyers were present. He doesn't know why they omitted what they told him. Did I hear you correctly?
Absolutely correct, Your Worship. It's only Mr. Van Wieler that put it in his statement.
Yes.
I agree, and Monica herself, she didn't put it in her statement, and she testified according to her statement. However, with Monica, because she's not a senior there, even my interview with her, she didn't say that she allowed accused number 2 to go and work there when I interviewed her and I took her statement. And she testified correctly. It's only Mr. Ndlovu and Mr. Van Wieler that informed me that it was against policy that they allowed number 2 to go work there because there's strict guidelines which they then broke. And I think then he suffered the consequences of that by being retrenched.
Now let's look at Van Wieler's statement.
Onwende kuja ambazi ndatendelera kupotya kuja kanimeshivo kutomorachike embanga president yakotapo oyiba imile omurukajota muti wa Monica hayenge nomkululu ilomba munya mara ye wakakoti yango sherikolelera ko statement yaye eyashangiva kuja ye eno okwakaitavira kuti olulungi bali akatikilo longa ashiko vaniveli vavali madina owatumbulwavo vati ono okwayakelelwa olulungi bali okwayakelelwa kuja ineendamo bali ayemilonga ndelene eshishekeya kakulwe obatakopi omakopi amwe bali ebibile osho sheke mwejikafiyo twende kuja abantu kwemilonga.
You say Van Villers testified according to his statement that he made true.
Wala kutulongola kuja Van Villers olobeno ye okwapoti ashekulelela eshashanyuka mu statement yaye kutwala kodi.
My memory serves me correct, Your Worship. I think Van Villers testified quite early in this trial, so I don't think this point that you're highlighting became an issue while he was testifying. So I stand to be corrected, but I think that is what the situation was. Van Villers testified early, so this point that you're raising wasn't raised with him.
I'm asking.
Onduweke kuja onlumenu owejinalela katumbulwa eshi eke aka upangaila anje umbayiwaye onduweke kuja esha adupotinena kakwalisha tulwa komesho yaye eshikulwe onduweke kuja napamwe osho ineshikopila no handi yundile okondi bukululwe ngengo dako.
You were present in court, you will remember it was raised with him, same point. Now, what you are saying is, Van Villers, the question was, are you saying Van Villers testified according to his statement? So that now when we deal with it, it should not come and change at a later stage. Are you saying he testified according to the statement that you too? Just say to the court. Van Villers testified according to his statement. And this point he raised in his statement. That's your evidence.
Ekulo eri amende kukula olele aba enda kumpa unyamukule olele kuja shashonu neno eswaleya bedanyu bantu waina bomo wali eiko ndala kukula haikula bali mutibali kuja olumenu ou eshi eya oyanjo mbangi wai okwayanjo mbangi yako byashekulelela kwa shashangi kama statement yaye obewe ishamba ilo okwakopya shimwe chibili ni hala esha tukaya komesho atupopi ombangi owulimemba bila owetokashenjaba.
Your Worship, Van Villers testified a long time ago. I can't remember exactly if this point was canvassed, but it's my feeling that this issue had only been raised once Monica and Sylvester had testified. I can't recall if it was raised with Mr. Van Villers. So if we can go back into the record, we can check.
Okimaneko twende kuja etimbo olilela kitabu ititiro kutumbuluka ashishosho kuja olumenu wejinazali tumbulwa kweshi wale ya kukuluma kulwa pata kopimbaki wai ngeko hechi wani kabotu nokucho kwako vile shike mara ngengende napamwe de tampenge pamwe uyelele kashona napamwe heitimbuluka sadutare kuja okwako vile shike.
I'll tell you what Van Villers testified on as far as this point is concerned. What he said is temporary employees are not allowed to enter the president's house. And I don't know if Sylvester and Monica and them have allowed them at what stage in the house.
Ohaipulomwe gahakuja noheishikula komesho ekuchi efikuolo olumeno wejinaola tumbula ofana desde atanto impactua e ukapopya kuja kapena olongi ohalongo o temporary ene bitikilo nukufemba wokuyame umbona president nde ngengenge ovalondo kukamuleni babalo majina watumbo ndo vakayandele bitikilo lolongi halongo temporary akalongeme umbona president kashilipa mango yo
Your Worship, I cannot recollect that evidence, but if it's in the record, then it's in the record. But the affidavit has stated that Ndlovu allowed accused number 2 to go work at the President's house.
Ashiko chika chino proposing on the show populated ati oka noveli kwa lazima tuna watu obali bayanje bitikilo kucha onulutilo ntibali enaye akalonga.
Well, put it on the record, which I believe you will also confirm and agree with me. Paragraph 4 of Van Velle's statement, I'm going to read it out to you. I'll read it out to you, don't worry. I'll read it out to you.
Ohandi ile kucha o statement yolumeno ekinalola kwa okunaja koja nohandi ile kucha nchikule jele inokala watila ohandi leshi.
Before you could even reach, I would like to raise my objection on the procedural aspect. It's confronted with the statement of the statement which is
I believe this statement, Worship, I'll then deal with the statement of Van
And remember to deal with the statement. You must deal with the statement of that particular witness, so that you can lay the basis. So that you can lay the basis and the witness confirm that I agree with everything, the basis. You understand? Yeah, so there is a problem now. You can't lay the basis to this. It is not his statement.
I'll deal with him on the evidences for court.
Yeah, evidence, not statement.
Not statement.
Yeah.
I'm very sure, although you said you're speaking under correction, you can't remember what he testified about, but I'm putting to you that that was the testimony before court, and that is what the court has on the record, that he testified only 2 people being allowed to be permanent employees in the president's house.
Ondoete kucha onfimane kwa kefimbo olevi ondishishi kucho wanyamukula kucha obeito timbruka ngenge ombanyi olumene wejinalola dogo echikwali apopya ngengoshongwa apopya ilongeidi maakasaka tuliomu moofa keshe umokubuyelele numbangi woshikopi washo eligole chikopya kucha neombola president openeke obantu benga mbali ababele bitikilo nufemba wokuya neumbola president.
Thank you, Worship. I understand that if your Worship has a record in front of you, I heard him testify, but I can't recall him specifically saying that, so I can't comment on that. Thank you, Worship.
Ondapatro kufimanekwa ondineshiro kucha umbangi oblikomesho yoye ngasokopi ashike amititiburuka ngenge efikolokwale yakwantumbangi waye okwakopiloshima shachangaho ondapandula kwasho.
With the evidence before court of the 2 witnesses whom you cannot, their evidence before court which describe accused 2 not being allowed into the property, you will agree with me that now we have a problem of the knowledge of accused 2 as far as the money is concerned in the house. To agree?
I'm sorry,
I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
Maybe the court. Now, with the evidence before court, as far as it stands, the witnesses, Mr. Ndlovu and Moni, who testify to the effect that accused 2 will not be allowed in the president's house, will agree with me that the issue of now the knowledge of accused 2 to have had in as far as the presence of money in the president's house concerned is now an issue.
Obantu okobeli babali onomeni wendinanto okunamonika eshi bakopya lokumbanje ulikomesho yo profile bo bakopya kucha neumbola president kapena onu ehevi onlondi owu opermanent tadulu okuya onduda oyo ya president dene nali otuna olunzilwa onzibali otakutiwa oimaliwa yakakana neumbola presidente ngaha otashitwetele ouju mupyakadi nale ulikomesho yetu toitabele kwasho high court.
In respect of the knowledge of the court, I agree with you that there's no direct evidence that accused number 2 knew about the money. But then the court must take into consideration the entire circumstantial evidence that has been gathered. in respect of accused number 1 coming from Cape Town and then going into the house. So you have to take everything into consideration and being in possession of the dollars. The only person that accused number 1 that I could show had the dollars after the fact, communicating with him, was accused number 2 and accused number 3. Nobody else in that entire property that had knowledge of the money in the couch had contact with accused number 1. And there was only 2 people in the entire country that knew where the money was put. And that was Sylvester and Lobo and the president. Nobody else knew where that the money was kept in the couch. And then the only people that could have found out was a cleaner. They cleaned the place and found it there. And the only people on that whole farm that contacted accused number 1 on his, that had communication with accused number 1, that ultimately was found in, or that did conduct deals with dollars, was accused number 2 and 3. So Ndlovu didn't contact accused number 1, and the president also didn't contact accused number 1.
Okutwala komaloto komikuja kapenacho mbali outa ubulungeno okumanifaa mulonzi balikuja okwali kochingwani macheti kololo teo leubola Phala Phala no handikabele pamunabo ashike ngengende o fai oyakufoma uyelele no mumbali aishe eyedwa komisho yenu otandiro okumona kuja mochilingwani mashi onlunzilwa odede otajiko papa dedeya deta ikonele oyoyete deta kahangi kwa ena oimaliwa oyoyalimeto shala kucha obanukili batatu otunalunzilwa otete nolunzilwa nzibali nolunzilwa ntitatu momeupo mwinya kapena onu obanwa bahalongo mu Phala Phala ou akakalele kwatapano oludengela olunzilwa otete ono kwali halongo mu Phala Phala ou akakalele kwatapano nolunzilwa otete olunzilwa nzibali ongoti abete ulike kucha okwakakala ene kwatafano tatengele olunzilwa otete nde obakala tabakopi olunzilwa otete onzibali nontitatu mwaishe otei kupefano kucha obanwaba obakala bene shimo loshimaliwa ono obakala bene shimo olumeno watongwamo woteto walandiva oshimuna ndena president akele kwasho ontitatu obabahabakombo meumo la president de oye abahakombo meumo la president ngengikesho olunzilwa onzibali ou akamono shimaliwa ndetatengele olunzilwa otete ndetabatameke okuya onokuja oimaliwa otalikufa mukaheli.
I just remember, are you calling your attention?
Yes,
yes.
Yes, that is the problem. Let me take it this way. I'll take it slowly. According to the evidence before court, which you were in court, you will listen to the evidence. You will agree with me that during the period that the incident occurred, even prior, from the 1st of January 2020 to February, there was never an event at the president or at Phala Phala farm or at the president's place. You agree with that?
On dote kucha openoka kukashona maronda hala ngenu likwete kukashona na pamushkote andele kashona oko udenge nawa kucha umbando ulikomeshoro mofa no linga hakuja ngeko tatali okutamike kiboloteto mwezi wotete ondo 2020 ndefio omweto ntibali ondo 2020 akwalipenana nde oshimingwa ni mashimwe walita shimingwa monele oyoya Phala Phala. Otrika velendera pamena.
Correct. I didn't find any event that occurred in January up until the 9th of February.
Osho, inandishuhuda inandishisha katika kucha memwe jodo okwalite na oshibilo shashane ni pamokwalite noshima nande ashindibwa mu masiku owo nomwezi ododa tumbulwa monelo ya Phala Phala.
And you will also agree that accused 2 together with other 3 temporary, or accused 2, let's be accused 2, was a temporary employee. Do you agree up to that point?
The authority rapa muna mechucha ondundilwa ontibali yokwakale ke halongo o temporary kwali efimbolo mo Phala Phala tuita belembera pamuna.
Correct, Your Worship.
No pimaneko.
And you will agree with me again that put the evidence before court, only the temporary employees to replace. The evidence before court is that temporary employees can only be called when there is an event of some sort at the farm.
The natango ubando information your file embango da copia no yite batula oba copia kucha. Onlongi o dalongo o temporary mofalama ya presidente que na shufemba uko ya galonge keshe fiko ngende tena oshibilo okota ufano ayakakwa fele oshina kuanfasho kashilongwa to twafana pamwena.
Yes, temporary employees are called when there is an event at the farm, but they're also called when the permanent employees are on leave.
No, ovalongi obo behefi o permanent aba habalongo temporary habu family ngenge pena oshibilo ndena tango habatro ufano ngengo balongi aba habalongo mo bo permanent very mefuto.
And with the evidence before court again, it was only Monica was on duty all the time. She was not on leave during that period. Do you agree?
The natango umbangi ulikomesho yetu owinga hakucha meme owedzina Monica okwali elilonga akwali elimefuto efimbolo shiningwa mashete leumbo otoitagele pamena.
But is this what is on record?
Yes, that's what is on record.
When you said I was in, is it Hudson? At the president's house for, is it for 4 days or whatever? Then I came back. When I went there, I found this. Is it not so?
Yes, she
testified that as I was away for Phala Phala, I was at the president's house in 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐷𝐻.
Yeah, for 4 days.
For 4 days. I came back. When I went there, it is then I realized there was a problem. Didn't she say that?
I just quickly
Yes, we just went that place. But at some stage she said she was away. She was in Gauteng, at the president's house there in Gauteng.
May I approach? May I also approach the...
Oh, you can approach, yes.
My sincere apology that I've used my apologies for that. The position, Your Worship, but I apologize. Kenan, I want to apologize to you that I put facts that were not correct. She was on duty, but not at the farm. She was at the president's house in Hyde Park. But the employee who was on duty was late. Who was then on duty at the farm. Lady, the other permanent employee.
Oh, lady.
Yeah. Lady was present at the farm as a permanent employee.
Orangiano bilimbo the ultimanengwa washi nebu ba ebulo la konga Amonishi or Lugadi and Dinamonica Santo Quadri Milongo, China Quadri Phala Phala, Quadri for the president, Ashike Monele Phala Phala Munanatango on originality or Quali and Milonga Efimbolo.
I do not know if Letty or Ruth was on duty, Your Worship.
And in a she wrong Leti, Ilo, or Wali, Ilonga Efimbolo.
Now, yes, Letty said to be, but now with one permanent employee being present at the farm, you would agree with me that there would have been no reason that a temporary employee is called in. When there's no event, one permanent employee is there, there was no reason that a temporary employee would be called in to come and assist. To agree.
Is it because of his investigations, or is it something that he knows he was based there on the farm? I want to understand.
Investigations on his investigations.
Yeah, then it must be clear.
Yeah,
it must be clear so that I can follow, and he must also follow.
According to investigation, would you, for the way in which, with the evidence that's before court at the moment, and with your investigations and the times that the temporary employees would be called in, would you then agree that there was then no reason that the accused troop would be called in into Phala Phala to assist?
Okutwala milonga yoye mokukonga omongelele oyo milonga yoholongo longa ndo information hofa ngeke otwatale oshakundi wamela ngeke kapenasha oshipilo shasha mondelo ya Phala Phala kapenasha tashingwa kondopena olongi ou akudwa permanent milonga talongo otashidulika ngopela aufane olongi o temporary ayeke nkwapela tashishiva ngopela.
According to the investigation, there are two people cleaners on duty at the farm. If one was gone, then they would be necessitated to obtain the services of a temporary worker to assist the cleaner that was there. So that's what I can answer in respect of when one cleaner is away.
Okutwala mbongo luyelele wange enyamukulo lango libika hakuja mombo olo la presidente mo Phala Phala amulongo oba kombi de gravali de ngenge oba kombi umo kwa jipo de nalo shakumbiwa onele yo no wajapo ogoba ufane olongo temporary eya kwa pele ayekonele yawe lepo ngenge ondanyamukula oshekolela kekolelwa kolani.
And the accused truth's position is that during that period, she was never called to come into Phala Phala to assist with anything.
Okutwala olunzilwa onzibali ye otakopitazi ngengo twatale efimbo nenge efimbo lolo shinkwanima shete yole umbo ye efimbo lolo ufanwa ukwaye akalonge nengaka kwakelo kulonga mo Phala Phala.
And
maybe before this, can I request the defense to be precise in that? During that period, she was not caught. We don't know which period was that will make life
Just be specific. Yes.
Through the period 1st of January to the 10th of February 2020 to 10th February 2020.
1st January, 10th February.
Yeah, from 10 January, from 1st January to 10th February 2020. She was never called into the house.
Ngenga kuja ule wefimbo ohai kuja kutaka kama kulote la January 2020 pio mtonga tuko ile lomba February 2020 olo wefimbo olo ipo isadi kuja ile ufano ule wefimbo lo ayapa kwa kulonga kwa Phala Phala.
In respect of the investigation, there is evidence in the docket that accused 2 and 3 knew about the money being in the sofa the previous year in 2019.
Okupala o mbali o ulimemba bila Opena uyele otauti, lonti lonti that Wakala Nale Shivo, Shimali Washashaki Membola President, Kodula Yakapita, Ondo 2019.
Now we have a problem because the evidence before court is the money was taken when these investors were going to leave on the 1st of January 2020.
Beno na ngoje kuja wakati kala tuna problema ya kulomora kuja umba ndo tuna information yetu ndoko kuja imali wayo o yakaka neke investor wali investor metodologete la January on 2020 jenge nina nibuka.
Yes.
That is correct, Your Worship, but as I'm saying, that's the evidence I have in the docket. It doesn't necessarily always correspond with other witnesses' evidence in respect of the investigation.
No, o shoshini ngamo ngati ndatetekele kukoja kucha. Amondilu mbandi mweuni lile, iwete kucha watashaka la shiju obuka tuwakane kama nao ukuli komisho yenu.
But that will be, now there is a whole lot of versions, from the state that now the court has to look into to determine the commission of this offense.
Ototumbelo kuitangela pamoja na kucha, teife ngaha onunu yaka jumo wapo. Sasa teife ngaha sawa tuli komesho apa mbakale lipo ungalutino ngokofa. Nario tuno dala mo mweti hapu noi umapokyo mahapu no bandi umo uli bona wehemo obo tutale kuja oshimachi ohatu shenifa na nongalo uli gari.
Your Worship, that's exactly the difficulty that I, as the investigating officer, found with this entire investigation. But you've got to just take the statements as the people give it to you, and if you know that it's wrong and it differs from another witness, you can't interfere with that witness and say, you've got to give me a statement that corroborates this one. I just take the evidence down that is given to me. And if it's different, I'm just going to have to live with that. It's the person that's given it to me and wants to make that under oath.
Kile ngono dokushenja umabopyo alongwelane ndinokweta eshiye alongwelane neshishanga chimemba pili denena onshika kalane bali shi shehelinawa esho nuteya otako bishimo chirindi dena lika tunanye tunokushininga otuneike okukala tuli mo ngatulinga okoja okanwaba omabopyo abo inaye ifa kwa bapange nale akopya komeshweni katunanye tunokunika.
Now, I want us to now deal with the other issue raised of cell phone communications. There is a report by Mr. 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 which highlights numbers and also identifies individuals to be people of interest in that report and also in affidavit. You are aware of it, I should be.
Como mbandi twapewa sitashirikolelele komalomfo emodi yobalunzi openulumeni wekina mkosi kwaleya okutupa oyijemo yayi nye abongomo yelele membodi ye okwapopyano madina obantu kutongodi yo yali eno nomorayi nokulonga kucha engododo odalonga kahayibi oneshibo kucha oneshibo lasho.
Yes, Your Worship, I know about that report.
In
that report, the accused two was said to have had used at least two numbers, and the accused three at least one number. Are you also aware of that?
The one called the Oyo Wali Trapewa, Negewa. O takutua onuntulo ntibali okwakala nifa engodi daidi mbali enomara daidi mbali ye onuntulo ntitatu okwalo nifa ongodi imwaiti oneshibolasho
Yes, Your Worship, I'm aware.
And when it was put to enforcing about these numbers, in some instances, the numbers relating to accused two were calling each other. He then said he is not in a position to determine as to whether it was accused who was using the number, but you will be the better person to highlight that position.
The Eshimali on the menu in Namposi, I convention with the Tabuakucha. They thought of Lombo Kuchon, Tivali of the Nomara Gilbert, the Nomara died of Gilbert. What did I take a valid domain? Shall I put on Lutilon Tivali, then take a when the value of the IA in the value, Tashishima Bell. Ye Wakamulagati, Amen. And in the she was to be Yamulo Chapotele, Ovene, Apoyabucha, Ovenadupule, Oshibwani Mashi, Ucha, Tashiva Bella.
Yes, Your Worship. In respect of accused number 2 and the two numbers that are associated with accused number 2, I also picked up that they did call each other. And I then, together with 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿, did further analysis on the information, and together with the testimony and the evidence, the evidence in the statement of Thomas, by using that and then using the cell phone data, I could pick up that when Thomas said he was woken up and collected by accused number 3, that the first phone of accused number 1 was phoning the second phone of accused number 1. That phone was in the possession of accused number 3, because Thomas had given me a statement to say him and accused number 3 drove to Bella Bella when accused number 3 requested transport for accused number 1 and his friends. Then it showed that the two phones, the one phone of accused number 2 and the one phone of accused number 3, were traveling together to Bella Bella. So there you could see that that's why accused number 2 was phoning her other phone, because it was actually in possession of accused number 3. Secondly,
Oponendo akamufaho ndakalomufa statement ya Thomas. Ngeko kata statement ya Thomas soma sokuya kucha. Efikolo oluthi lontida dobo yakho yezinto to akutentwale mfitile ntwale ko baramba. De moku ya wayeko de la bela ndote kucha. Onomara imayo luthi lontibali. Okwalita ilombi fa ko luthi lontida. Shasho onomara ikwata ilombi fa ko luthi lontida yo luthi wa ontibali. Otayuliye kucho yali pamwe nombo de kwa tayo kwa ko Thomas yo tavende pamwe ba ukamo baranga ashiko lutilo ntitatu ongo de kwa taro kwa yo lutilo akontibali okwa denge lo lutilo ntibali o kwa libe he pamwe naye obo twakotila kuja ngoja tishekiri bali lo lutilo ntibali okwa likajuli dengele efikolo.
Secondly, in respect of Thomas giving me a statement where the Monday himself and accused number 3 traveled from 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐫𝐿 to Pretoria to renew their security licenses. In that instance, again, the second phone of accused number 2 with Thomas's phone and the phone associated with accused number 3 traveled from 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐫𝐿 to Pretoria and then on to Kempton Park, where the first phone of accused number 1 stayed in 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐫𝐿.
Ngenge natango iwenda ko shitibali oshinyaba kakele kwa chine umbagi inatoro mfano umbagi wa Thomas odokeshi mwana makucha ongo dion lutiro ntibali efikolola kalandulako eshiba fikama olutiro ntidatu na Thomas tabai tabakabiniwa osira ko Pretoria ongo dimwe yo lutiro ntibali otayulinge kucha oyali iliwe ko lutiro ntidatu shasho yaulika kucha ongodi olundi lonti tatu ongodi imwe yolundi lonti bali nongodi ya Tomasa nongodi olundi lotete odaya odali dikoperdori ashiko ongodi imwe yolundi lotete otayulike kwali ili natako ko fengra.
The third issue that supports this is that in Kempton Park, you must remember a SIM card has got a number and a handset, a phone has got a unique serial number. So the SIM card was then taken out of the second phone that was associated with accused number 2, and that SIM card was then placed into accused number 3's handset.
Lutitatu oshilia bakuja na tutimburuke kucha oka kalata keshe kamwe okene nomora ni dile dashanga wako befo okashakani ngwanga hakucha eshiga aliko Kempton Park olundi lonti datu obakufa oka sim card akako lundi lonti bali tekatula ngodi yae dashulike kucha oka sim card o cell phone number yolundi lonti bali okwalita kalongo mongodi yolundi lwa onti datu.
So that just shows that the handset associated with accused number 3 had the SIM card associated with accused number 2, and that he was using that phone, and that's why the two numbers of accused number 2 were phoning each other, because the phone was in somebody else's possession, Your Worship.
De okotuche kucha ongodi yolundi lonti bali yikwawo yakatengela ongodi imwe yolundi lonti bali okorakucha ongodi yolundi lwa onti bali okakalata kaye kamopali kakalongo fako yolundi lonti tatu datengela yolundi lonti bali.
That poses a further problem that you are raising, because the form that is associated with accused 3 is also calling accused 2 is also calling accused 3, and there's a diagram which highlights the calling of the same number that you said was then in possession of accused 3. That's why they were calling each other, because now the same number is then calling accused 3. You say then accused 3 was then calling himself with the number from accused 2.
Okutwala kupopia lwe peife chitofauti okwenda kolalo shimashi sala kuja peife choto chikuja olundi lonti datu okwekeli dengela bali yemwene nongodie ilibali yemwene ilo wala kuja okwakufa okakalata kolundi lwa onti bali akakwalie kakwete enongojoyo yedeli dengele bali yemwene nongodia osho wala kutulokwele.
Your Worship, you must remember, your question is in respect of myself and you doing normal things in life and living a normal life. Yeah, everyone knew that there was a break-in there and that they were involved in some dubious criminal activities, and they would change the phones with each other. So in respect of the phone, phoning himself, yes, the phones did phone each other, but they could have swapped the phones amongst each other. I don't have direct evidence, but it's a logical explanation in respect of those phones phoning each other. I could pick up that accused number 2 had phoned Thomas. Thomas didn't pick up. Then accused number 2 phoned her own phone, which was then picked up, which I then suspect was either picked up by Thomas or accused number 3, because I have evidence in a statement that Thomas was with accused number 3.
So then I think kucha ofena umbo olola kate de mete yole ubolo kali tulikile kucha obanogo obali bakatero moshingwa nima oshoshete yo imali waya kakala de kucho obanu kange tiembo didabo osho itatushishi na pamwe obakakala odayo odia kwa unyakato kwa utasitengere manileshi kucho beshini kage imali yo tatulike kucho otekeli dengela olundi lwa onti bali bakatengela okodi ya Thomas taifiti takapito la tatenge okodi ya ina tango yikwawo ongodo yikwawo benenimekila dilolo kuja mutweshi balike idengelo kwali olundi lonti datu yolundi lwokitatu okutwalamu nga gyowundi okwalire bibamena Thomas.
You want the court to look into this evidence that you are giving, not in a normal sense or not based on the evidence, but on the assumption that this could be people who are trying to hide something.
okutwalamu ekibolo yenenge olwo ekiko kigirazira kukyososanyibwanga inakulambula omubaka owulikomesho yetu nakishatongwa kinembakira ekibirikomesho ekikuja okinibwa nimosho kyalina.
Yes, Your Worship. These three are accused and suspected of having been involved in the housebreaking, so they would have something to hide and to hide their tracks. And a lot of people know that we utilize cell phone technology to assist us in investigations. So I would expect the court to have a look at them because as being the suspects in this case, not as being normal people that are just calling each other. So I agree, I would expect the court to look at them in a way of suspicion, because that's the way I see it. And they swap their phones back and forth. Maybe there's no airtime in the one, maybe there's airtime in the other. I don't have evidence of that, but that's just logical things that you can think about. Can I see that chart you referred to, just so that because now we were talking about two phones of accused number 2. Maybe you're talking about the one that did phone accused number 3. Can I look at that chart?
But now I want to deal with this aspect that you just highlighted. That now, basically, what we are asking the court is the court to, make that assumption of usage of this phone. Yes. Now, in the same breath, the cell phones appear to be at separate places. Is it the same explanation that you give, that you just gave now, where now we're talking of tower activation, that he has moved, or they are moving to a certain position, they are moving away from a certain position? Would that be the same explanation you give?
Your Worship, you must understand the handset moves from one location to another, so you can read where that handset is moving. So you've got to look at where that handset was at a particular time, together with other evidence that you have. And in this instance, I've got Thomas's evidence. So in respect of in whose possession the handset was, you've got to rely on evidence in respect of that. But the handset moved from one spot to another spot, and then that's how you can pick up where a specific transaction was done and where that phone was in relation to the area.
Kucha engodo daloka tendi oyali ndenge libolo no kwalita taikishike nenge ona pamwe oyakana no shimali wa ilongeji natango shota shikulongwele osotole ko kulandula umbangi o ikomesho yewe mepati.
Yes.
There's just one point that I missed. The commission of the offences at Stokis Dry and Phala Phala. Which one was, in which property was the first break-in?
Onelo Imbali, Stockis Drive, no Phala Phala. Onele Ike Yakatewate.
The first break-in occurred at the main farmhouse of a farm called Stockis Drive.
Eteolo Tete Olanigua Ufarama Oerendina Stockis Drive.
Then the next was then Phala Phala.
De Tabuka Shikula, Tabukatewa Phala Phala.
Once nothing was found at Stockis Drive, the second house break-in took place at Phala Phala, and the dollars were stolen there.
Eshivaka Monakucha, Stockis Drive, in Amahanga Mosha, or Wakafufa, or Edabalo, or Wakate, or Phala Phala, the Lavahangemo $8, the Tabativake.
Because now, if we are having, this is another problem that we find in the evidence presented to court, because Mr. Nkosi highlights in his affidavit or in his report that Mr. Hendricks highlights that the break-in occurred at 22:15 at Phala Phala. That is the first break-in, according to him.
Natango ndoende kucha akakalatu na ekumbo natango nenge uju kekotolo eshashi umbando ulikomesho yetu olumenu wetina nkosi otati okweyanga nezidongole kuja oliyeshi halo nongo wakituka emito nongo natanzi ufiku eteyo lotete olakaningwa Phala Phala.
Objection. Your Worship, I think counsel should specify that are factually correct. That is not the evidence that's supposed to tell us. The first breaking of the part of that is not correct. And even
Where did you tell?
I'm surprised my colleague has not noticed that before the court is an affidavit in terms of 2 and 3 of Mr. Nkosi. I can't remember which exhibit was marked to be. But then at paragraph 1.5.2
Was the cell phone analysis?
Yes, cell phone analyst. At paragraph 1.5.2, that is what he said to the court.
That is the first break-in.
Yes, that is what he said to the court. The first break-in was at Phala Phala house. And he also specifies the times there. And he moves 1.5.2. And here he says this was pointed and provided to by Mr. Hendricks, the farm manager at Phala Phala.
Otashi kumufakiracho nambo ligene ndote kucha onondo lipamwename kene chivo la chichime babila echikwalisha kobiwa Solomon Nkosi genko twatale kembabile video Nkosi oimwe 5.2 okwakopya nana kucha eteyolo teto kwali ololanibwa Phala Phala olumeno menja nebrikuche nombela ngaucha omutete teto bateya Phala Phala.
And if we look at
Just a minute,
Hold on.
please. Just a minute. You said 1.5.2 is Mr. Hendricks, the fund manager at Phala Phala, pointed out the crime scene where it is alleged that the break-in took place on the 9th of February 2020 at about 22:50. The evidential analysis and where does it indicate that the first break-in was at Phala Phala? This is how you interpret it. I thought that it's very clear.
May I take the court 1.5.1?
Also, this is your interpretation.
That is the first one. It's specifying the time.
Yeah, but the way you put it appeared as if it is very clear that he said the first break-in was at.
No, you can interpret it. I'll ask the court to go to.
That is why I'm saying, is it your interpretation? That
May the court go to 5.1, I mean 1.5.1. 1.5.1.
1.5.1. Yeah, Mr. This is it shown. See, the farm manager at Stockist Drive farm pointed out the crime scene where it is alleged that the break-in took place on the 9th of February 2020 at about 00:32.
Yes. Now we did the two together. So the first break-in would have been at Phala Phala.
No,
You must make it clear that your understanding and your interpretation. Don't put it as if it is how it appears in the affidavit. Yeah.
That's the problem. If I may assist you on those two paragraphs.
Yeah.
The first paragraph, Stockist Drive, it's on the 9th of February at 00:32. That is 2:30 just after midnight.
Yeah.
That was the first hour of the night.
Yeah. And then the
The other one committed the later hours of the night, the night when it was approaching midnight.
yeah.
Which means the one that he said, the other is the one that happened at 12:30.
That's why I'm talking about interpretation.
No, this is about
Interpretation.
If we look at the date, the date is the 9th.
The date is the 9th.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if my colleague wants to say then there was this break-in on the 9th in Stockist Drive, according to that.
Look here, put it as it appears
Yes.
from the statement of Ngozi.
May please the court. Can you assist on that page?
Your Worship, it did confuse us as the investigators initially first, because Mr. Fraser, in his initial report, put in a lot of photographs and evidence in respect of the break-in at Phala Phala. But when our investigation was conducted, we found out that the 9th, in the morning, the early hours of the morning of the 9th, at midnight, it's still the 9th, coming from the 8th. That's when Stockist Drive was broken into. And that is where the first break-in took place at Stockist Drive. Nothing was found. And then the group that broke in regrouped, realized they broke into the wrong farm. Then the same day, just the next night, at 2200 hours now, they broke into the second farm, which is Phala Phala. So everything occurred in one day, but in the morning hours and in the evening hours. So it's the simplest term I can say like that, and that is exactly how it happened.
Onwete kuchangase okwalishe tulimbili kakashona etikolonda ndakashangena na manager okonelo ya Phala Phala kote kupa omakano mahapo tatenda barakutulingira kucho inyima nengo ochingwani masho chakikwa meyi noshenda geyi obona kama na kucha mboli eteyolo tete olaningwa ku Stockist Drive farm eteyolo tete olaningwa kengulasha olongo nambali wapinzeni nde shauka kengulasha nde bonguloshi ekikungolo longo wapinzeni longo nanana bakamona kucha ngolo fala menya kateya Stockist Drive wateo fala maikuko kapena shiranga botaveyane ofalama oya Phala Phala tabekeite yada kufamushi shali.
I can admit, Your Worship, that us as investigators, we were just as confused, but then we started speaking to the people and realized it's two break-ins on the same day, just at different times of the night.
Nasenaba obakongi bomuyelele okwaicheke tulimbili bikamara eshitwa kapingira atuenda tukulobani atuputile kuti oshenda ngeito kutoka mwana kucha eteyo ele alishona ningo tikumwaje kakele kwasho limola ningo akengulasha eteyo limetalikani kwako muloshi.
Before, I'm sorry, before I forgot. Is there any link or relationship between the two farms? Stockist Drive farm and Phala Phala farm?
Mangi nanditimbwa ohaningile kucha napamwe upengi elele kashona kucha openamele kwa tafanuko kati kopalama hiyo Stockist Drive na Phala Phala.
There is no link between the two farms, Your Worship. The one is owned by the trust of the President, Phala Phala, and then the Stockist Drive is owned by Mr. Abreu. The only link that the two have is that Mr. Abreu has from time to time informed me that he has purchased buffalo from Phala Phala. But there's no physical link and there's no linked to each other. They are owned by completely different parties.
Kapena ekwata fano pe Phalama odozi mbali shashi o Phalama ya Phala Phala o Phalama ya president and then o Phalama itibali yo numweni ile tinalola kukolwako oshibeke shinda shibakwata kanifa oshikuja o Phalama itibali 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐴 o yo numweni ile yae okumweni o halande bafalo mo Phalama ya president ezara o Phalama ya mara I'm
asking you this in order to be clarified, because you said nothing was found. Then there was a break-in in Phala Phala. What do you mean nothing was found? In Stokis Drive.
Your Worship, once we conducted the investigation, we found that when they broke into Stokis Drive, they broke open all of the sofas and the cushions and the pillows looking for something, but nothing, even a teaspoon was stolen from there, from that first break-in. And then when we got to the aspect of the Phala Phala farm, we realized that only one sofa was opened at Phala Phala farm according to the evidence, and one room was searched and the money was found in that sofa. So we got to the realization that they broke into the wrong farm the first time. They got it was at night and they got the directions wrong. Meaning the direction, in which direction to go to a farm to break in. They got that wrong on the first time, and the second time they got it right. And that's the theory that I have, is that accused number one doesn't know the area. He came from Cape Town. He lives in Cape Town. He got there.
Or you say accused number one.
Yes, Your Worship.
Accused number two, he knows the place.
He knows the place.
Phala Phala. It was very important. It's very important for me to clarify this.
Yes, Your Worship.
I forget. I'm very sorry. I didn't interfere, but I thought that it's very, very important for me to get clarity on what the witness was saying.
And accused 2 and 3 confirm they stay in MDN&x, which is just adjacent to the two farms, correct?
The overlooking
Yes, Your Worship.
And with the accused 2 working at Phala Phala farm, it will be easy for her to directly to involve those people. The second is the court. With accused 3 working as a temporary worker at Phala Phala farm, will easily have given direction, correct? If he was indeed accused 2, my apologies.
jala kuchamboli oshibukuye chachokwali halongo omafimbo wamwe Phala Phala oshibukuye obwanje kuja uyelelo wakusho wabuliwa obano obaya bakateya ngenge oyayandibiyelele osho ilo hasho.
Your worship, it's not like in the city where you say, here's the house, this is where the couch is, you can break in there. You've got to walk a very long way. You've got to walk very far through a thick felt to get to the house. And I can tell you they walk kilometers to get to the first one, and they walk kilometers to get to the second one. So to get a direction to say, go that way, and you find a farm in that vicinity, then you go to that one. It's easy. Even myself that's been to both of them at night, even if they direct me, you've got to walk. It's not just a house that's here. The farm, it's huge, and the house is in the middle of that huge area. So you've got to walk very far to get to actually the place that you're going to be breaking in. So it's logic for me to say, they made a mistake. They went to the wrong house first.
Wangu note kulo mwete katisha ilo wabitika hato ika hapo wafika nani. Kalama jadi kopi, kalama imoe ya kula, indeni ontuende ko okanani, opo ufike kwa niloko. Deshito imo kalama ya kula, umokati kolukwa, o eumboloni fokati. So nandeke nwame ochikambe ita yako, o nda yako tuwete kucha ene lodo, tilipo kule. Ngeko luwe nene shivu, oneko kukarawa kama. Oshoseke kifande kwetu la jilono kucha, moleshi baya bakateya kete onelorebu. Eshoshosherani ndiva, kashitoshi mashiku, ochambo njilo ile, yo noho omukati ke Phala.
And I can tell the court that the phone associated with number 2 was communicating with the phone associated with the suspect who we suspect broke into the house and accused number 1. A lot of times. There were easily 20 phone calls between those phones. And the analyst, I think, has presented that. I wasn't present during his evidence, but I think he has presented that.
And ohandi popinga hakuja umpimanikwa gengo twakale omodio kwalita ilomi kwa kono mzilo ontibai nonontilwa ontidadu de na wakate ya meumomu oba popya kupika mbekile kodira kubali na ino twete kutondo menikosi okwalita kongo omo yelele nengodi okwemba no yeliko misho yetu.
Yes. Thank you. I just asked my team to look at something that I will raise it once if I can. And we will confirm that after the incident, we never found accused 2 or accused 3 in possession of any dollar.
Nadamu duduru okushita dela ilo ulongele kucha. Koni ma yoshi ni kwa nimasho sheteyo le umbolo tayo tongwalatewa. Inoka hanga omutilo ntibali nengo ntidatu vena oimaliwa oyo yedo.
I did not find dollars with accused 2 and 3. You're correct, Your Worship.
No, inandiva hanga nayo ori monjila ufimane.
We have also investigated their bank accounts. We did not find their bank accounts with any amount, substantial amount deposits in their bank accounts. My apologies. You have also investigated their bank accounts, and you did not find any causes that you could raise flags on after the incident? Is that correct?
Natango otodulu okutupa ombali wokusha owakaya kembangada otokongo moyelele yekapemuyelele uwakahamba kokuthi okunimali wakamuhapu yapitilila ilobe nimali weyiyadipozitwako muheshanga yaja osho ilo hasho.
Correct, Your Worship. There are no significant financial transactions in that case.
No mfimanekwa kabenu mbaluza ulikuja opaimaliwa ilokunimaliwa ulimonjila.
As it is accused whose version that she had no knowledge of the money, that there was any money to farm, and as a result, she could not have discussed anything with anybody about the money that she doesn't know.
Oshone onudulonti baliyo tako kifuji. Yekene shi ngenge mufalama ya Phala Phala kwani na oimaliwa oyo yakalakwa nde idashishiva abobye nonu enlongwele shinabona shani imaliwa ngenge yekene shivo imaliwa ime umolola.
Your Worship, the circumstantial evidence would show that it's the only person on the whole farm that had contact with accused number one, and that would be linked to knowledge of the dollars in the couch. I agree there's no independent evidence where somebody testified that she has, but you have to look at the holistic picture of the evidence and the docket and the investigation itself.
Oyekene okukalene eshigo limaliwayo yalilomo kwaliatirwa nechofu ndenatango oyo nowu kwali enekwatakano nolunzi lwawote nenalikeko tweshidula shisho twendatushetapa tomonokucha oye balinenekesha olunzi lonti bali owu akalatatengele olunzi lwawotete tenilongwele kucha meumbomo omunimaliwa yali.
Number 3, do you want the 𝐷𝐸𝐻𝐿? Number 3, please. Advocate, just in the particular 14, we will resume it for a president.
Thank you.
You are still under.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Protections.
Confirm, Your Worship.
Thank you.
May I just ask one more? Just a few seconds. Thank you. General, just on in concluding, we believe we picked up in dealing with this aspect. The investigation of the cell phones, the instructions that you gave and the evidence that we had, you gave instructions to investigate cell phone movement and cell phone communication from a specific date, which is from the 1st of January 2022 until
Yes, Your Worship. That's the mandate I gave the analyst.
Wayanteke okutamike kubulotete omwekibotete on the 2020 netiyo papa mawulila ekongolo muyelele olumuyelele osho hasho otati osho nalomwela omuwaka kumuyelele ngoti kuchanatamike mefikulo momwejo yo papa amoyo.
Was there maybe any specific reasons why you could not investigate or check some months, a month or two prior to the commission of the offense, that you could maybe look at the communication of the accused persons?
Openashambela omuyimbo asha awali taimwingi kujani ningedurado konima mutale ekwata pano chinabona chane ndengero lengo pokati kovaluntilwa ngengo halidengere nonale ilo ngayo.
Your Worship, I can assist you because an analyst that analyzes the data from the cell phone data has got a vast amount of information he has to go through, or she. And once you start broadening it outside the time frame of the break-in, you try and give him a association and a communication request prior to the committing of the crime, during the committing of the crime, and after the committing of the crime. But if I don't necessarily have evidence of a crime being committed outside that time frame, I don't want him to waste time on looking at hundreds of phone calls that aren't going to add value to the investigation of the housebreaking that I'm busy with. And I can tell you that I drew hundreds and hundreds of calls in respect of this time frame because I'd started so late on the investigation. I was running the risk of the data being lost by the cell phone providers. So unless there's a specific reason for me to do that. Sometimes you might have a court matter where the analyst is saying he can reevaluate evidence of a different time frame. Then you can ask him to do that. But in this instance, I gave him a mandate. I had dates of the break-ins, and I gave him a time frame before, during, and after to analyze the communication between the people we had identified.
Ndiponge omuyelele kelibolelela keduradakapita oshone abona kucha umura kucha amename mushina kuwanikwa mune mushingwanima mundeke twamo ndikwaterwemo konima yedula dakapita oshone ndabona kucha oshiwa ngenganishendelelepo ndandikumu ono ndakakongo muyelele kengoli kucha ndauka konge omuyelele engolito banabo okutamika ikepepipulotete omwejiwotete ondo omayobeka bino kubai fiyo emwedodo hatikoke shahala kucha nenali obantu benyanabo abalandisa engoli otomahangata kamumoyelela moendwa dakapita kabeyanakaji amendatila kucha napamwilemo ndakwatevivo omoyelele nyandahala okutamika mutulami mwejo idaka muni shako ngenge pena shamele shita chishe chako opati dulu tushune koni tukakongo moyelelo owanfa.
Don't you think it would have been prudent at least to assist the court as well that these people, even prior to the commission of the offense, there was never communication between them. The communication started on this day, which is around the commission of the offense. Don't think it would have assisted.
Oyo kucha apengeno otakakwa otashikakala shina onlo unenta udokuka kwa fela o fai kuja oko tumone kuja obantu abo bakala nale ihaba kwatafana ihabe litengele batamke kukutamke kweli ongeno we yako numfemba wengodida okutakeza dunya kuja etura donale ngodino ndrode ndrode balondrode kakwali habe litengele shoshe kodwe kucho vanhu ava ovo vakateya chachibumba yo vatamiko okulidengela eshi eteyo leumbo rakani.
If I understand you correctly, would it have been prudent to extend it to a longer time frame before and after?
Ngenge ndikuti nawe kuloloye owala kuchangeno oneyo statement yokulika kucho vanhu vakafana litengele nale kedrada kapita.
As I said, I didn't want to extend it too much because I had a date of the two break-ins, and then I gave in the mandate to do the linkages, associations, and communication diagrams for that period and a month before and a month after. I didn't see any reason to extend it outside of that time frame.
Kakwali ndiwete kucha openasha ngeno omundwe yokukonga kali omakwatakano oyeduladina dakapita omulwa kucha mudalala kanene ike kucha natutamekeye omwezi wodulayo eshilibwa ni masheteyo lanimwa nokuyakomesho ndiwete kucha shonekeshinzilanga.
Even though I do have the data of the time frame previous to that, it hasn't been analysed, or the linkages hasn't been made over that time between the suspects over that time frame. But I have the data.
You therefore not deny to say to you from the data that you refer to that you have, as it was then discovered by the state to us, it shows that there was a pool call associated, a number associated with these two, starting from as early as in August and even before that they were talking to each other, even before the incident.
Nase abatu yapa okunumba zota wike kucha walulonti bai ngeko twatale omwezi olutuletato odula yakapita ilo mule wokonima edula dakapita nokonima obantu bo bakala bene kwatafana habakoti. Oleshibolasho
Accused two talking each other. Who's the other person, Your Worship? In respect of the evidence I have, I had knowledge that they knew each other in respect of this investigation. And that's how I never said that they were unknown to each other.
Because my problem was the impression that we tried to give to the court that they were talking so much to each other during the computer offense when surely that happened even before.
Ove ohala kutu telefano lumekuja efimbolo losinkwani masheteyo leubo oba nobo bakatameka nana bene kwatafana wana tabakopi shidulize ongashi kuto bantu aba bakaliha kopi nale kuja ketameka.
So it was never the state or my investigation to show that the accused 1 and 2 didn't know each other.
Kakwali oshikopi wa shange ningo oshikopi wa shongala liko fa shonja obantu obo obalundiro lundo tetenonzibali kakwali nekishina ashoshiriga.
Yes, the problem was the impression that was given
Right. Yes, answer.
Maybe it's the court. Your Worship, should I have
Further examination.
Just one aspect, Your Worship. The court asked you about the relationship between the two farms, the respective tribe and Phala Phala, and your response apparently related to the personal relationship between the owners, about the physical relationship, we have evidence from 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐿𝐫𝐷 that the farms are neighboring this one.
okoye kukula kucha ngengo totukukile kutulongole kucha ekalama tujimbali otodate obenekwatafano lingae linenge obalumenobo obenele kalama tujimbali obenekwatafano lilinge ikimele.
That's correct, Your Worship. There are neighbouring farms.
Nompimanoko ekalama tujimbali obashinja ekalama tukalele ikishinja.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you, Worship. That is the case for this.
State case closed. Mr. Matata.
At this stage, Your Worship, one thing is I'm not in a position to prepare an application. I'm not prepared in a position to make an application in terms of section 174. Your Worship was there to also consult with the applicant to add certain things and then take that instruction from at least number one. However, Your Worship, we still have Friday, so we still can
This Friday.
this Friday.
Uh, 27.
Yes, Your Worship, we still have this Friday.
Okay.
Please, the court, Your Worship, in this, we also want to prepare in terms of session as a report. We will need some time so we can possible introduce them to the court from the court can follow up and also to compile all the evidence.
So today is the
24th.
we still have Friday. Friday. So by Friday, state will be ready. Friday. It appears that they are going to bring an application for discharge in terms of section 1.
Unless if something completely new comes out, but I think I should be able
You
to
listen to what I say. Our another date is 10. Is that it? 10. 10 April. Oh, okay. It is so. Okay, it's fine. Please prepare. Yes.
Friday, the state level of the tenth, but we're looking at the time frame, we'll only be leaving 2 days to do all that. Can we maybe move it to the 10th at once, that we can start?
The 10th will be for the court to deliver judgment on the applicants. Yes, please, let's try. Oh, I mean, you are going to consult and prepare that case. Then I will hear from the state if it's ready to respond or not, because there is no time there to maybe for heads of arguments that you can deliver to the state to respond. Today, I don't think it's time. Yeah, Friday, then I will hear from you what the position is. Okay.
As a conclusion.
Yeah, we'll take it from Friday. Unless if you draft heads of argument regarding the application sent to the state, then I give you time to send the application to the court. Then Friday I listen to you, then I will be in a position to give it to you.
I think we'll just have to argue on Friday because there will be.
I'm not Friday.
Or the 10th.
Yeah. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Say it, you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, if I follow the court, the court suggests that they draft their heads,
Yeah.
submit to the state, timelessly so that the state can also respond.
Correct.
And the court to
When you submit it to me, then I check all this, and on the 10th, I listen to you because I will know what is happening there. Then I will be in a position to give my judgment. Do you understand what the procedure is?
Yeah, I think that can also.
You can wait.
Yeah, the state will know where we're going, and the court will also understand what we're facing for the court.
Mr.
I
Matlan.
think that will be fair.
Basically, I do understand the general instance that
Okay. Well, when will you be able to send your heads of argument to the state?
Yes, we were suggesting that we send the date on the 2nd of April. Whatever the date on the first and the
Today we are on the 24th. State, if it is the second, for how long will we need to respond?
maybe 5 days. And that's why I see the second Friday.
The second is just before that. The second is the first day. Yeah. Now, gentlemen, the second is too far. Because in any way we are saying Friday will be late. Friday is
for oral arguments, but drafting it's draft type.
or for oral argument it will be ready by Friday.
But
Okay, then it will depend on the state
as well. So
whether they will be ready or not. If not ready, I will give them some days before. before the 10. Okay. This matter is postponed until the 27th of March 2026, Friday. This Friday for further trial. Case number 1, you're still in custody. 2 and 3 on extended bail. On that first day, this court failure to come. Warrant of arrest authorized against him. Paying money for failure to
Oshane oshibofa oshakumulirwa metidano manigomero mubalinane yali omwetyombawo ebitano elimwe litwawukala omudirinya olundiro tete natamba olina engambo olundiro ntibalina ntitatu omuliko nje mbeili nungenge namolo otanka mangwa nimali weimwa futu mbeili itaika muimona omudide wendishi.
Number 1, do you understand? Thank you. Number 2, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Number 3, do you understand? Thank you. You are excused. You are excused. We want to talk to them. Huh? You want to agree?